Today we are going to take a look at how to use port forwarding to connect to one of the workspaces in Research Gateway. I have here an EC2 Docker workspace. Let's connect to this workspace. As you can see, I have selected a specific key pair here, and I'm going to use this to connect to this machine. Now we are connected to this machine. As you can see here, we have this Nginx image running on this machine, and that is set up to listen on port 8080 on the host machine. So if I run a curl command, I will see the output on this machine. So let's tail the logs on the Nginx so that we know when we have connected to it. So these are the logs of the Nginx server. Now we need to note down a few pieces of information. We need to know the key pair. We need to go to the output, and we need the instance IP address. So we will copy this. This is the instance ID. We don't need it specifically, but I'm just going to show you this instance running in the console. So that's this instance here. And if you look at this instance and the security group, the inbound port that is open is only port 22. There's no other port open for this instance. Now I'm going to go to my terminal here, and I'm going to set up my port forwarding. I'm going to use the key pair that we had used to create the machine to connect to it. The user whose credentials we use, and the IP address of the machine. I'm going to set up a local port 1080. You can use any port, but just to make a distinction between the local port and the remote port, I'm going to use the port 1080 as the local port. Now when we forward it, because the security group of the remote instance does not allow anything other than port 22, we have to use the private IP of the remote server. So let's go look that up. So we are going to use that IP address. Now other than this, I'm going to use a few options here. -F to run this in the background, right? So we're going to fork this process into the background. -N, we don't want to send any commands over the SSH. So I'm going to send -N. So now I should be able to see this process running in the background. So this is the SSH process that is running in the background, 2332. That's the process. I'm going to open another terminal window here. I just made it a different color so that we can look at it. When I connect to the local host using a curl command, I get a reply which is from the Nginx. So this is how you would connect from a terminal locally. Also, what I can now do is I can go to my browser. I can open a new browser tab and type the same thing here. And again, I see the web page that is being served by the remote server accessed on local port 1080. As you can see, the tunneling happens only over the port 22, so there's no other ports that need to be opened, and we can now access any application, in this case Nginx, that's running on the remote server. We can also go back here to the Nginx logs and again try from the curl command. So when I send a command from my terminal, you should see a log in the Nginx logs. There you see that log here. Alright, that's all on how to connect using port forwarding to a remote server in Research Gateway.